Hey everybody, Dave here, Hidden Freedom, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to go through March 2022 dividend portfolio update. We're going to look at the buys, the sells, the dividend increases, and all that. It was a record-breaking month for me, and that's because of one ETF that I got into that pushed me over the edge. So there's gonna be a lot of changes coming up over the next few weeks for me. If you've been following my journey for roughly almost 2.5 years in this dividend portfolio, started at $50,000 in roughly about January 2020, and now we're up to roughly about $700,000 in the taxable account. And then I've actually added some other accounts there as well. Just because there's some changes in my situation. So 7 days left to fire. So yes, next week it'll be the last day of my job. And if you look at the video back from January 2020, it was 489 days, I believe it was, when I add that to the actual Google Sheets. So we're all the way down at the end here. 7 days left, no job, go hike the Appalachian Trail. And so like I said, there'll be some changes coming up. Going forward, I'll be rolling the 401k over to an IRA. So that will be, right now it's just in cash because I'm maybe rolling that account over. So that will start getting invested as well. And I've made a video on that. So, all right, let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so this is the agenda for today, month of March, even though we're in April, but this is the March update. And we just saw Dividend Mountain there, and I just want to say it was about right where he was for February update, maybe a little bit more progress because the market has recovered a little bit since then. So it's good to see him get to that point where the goal, I think, is 1.25, if I'm not mistaken, is where I put the goal for the stock portion of the portfolio. And once we get to that goal, maybe we'll just have to update the goal. So that's kind of what you end up doing, right? All right, so overview, let's go back to the Google Sheets. So here's the Google Sheets. We got 1.2 million or so in there. And I put the HSA in there, so that's because that really counts, right? And then and this is just the stock portion of the portfolio, obviously. So 401k will get rolled over to IRA. We also have a solo 401k there, which is in the queues right now. And then we have the main portfolio, the taxable side, $706,000 there, which puts off roughly about $3,300 a month. And I don't really count some of this other stuff because it's in a tax-deferred account. But, you know, I mean, in reality, that kind of does count. I just don't count it because I can't use it. So the market has recovered quite a bit over the last few weeks here. So we're back up to $42,000 in unrealized gains. And hopefully the good old government doesn't start taxing me on unrealized gains. I'm not one of those rich people that they should. So we got account weighted dividend yield 4.98%, and that's just because a lot of stuff's sitting in cash right now, so it really doesn't even count towards something. All right, housekeeping. All Dave's spreadsheets featured in these videos are available, and guess what? The new release 1.10 is finally out. I've been beta testing it for a while just to make sure that some things were fixed. So I added a fourth account there in this release. And I might actually add a fifth account as well. So if you're interested in the spreadsheets, they're available out there. The first pinned comment. And for anybody that's bought them already, you will get an update by the time you watch this video. And I might actually add a fifth account in there. And some people might ask, Dave, what do I need 4 or 5 accounts for? Well, the more money you get, and later on in life you end up just with more accounts. It's just the way it is. You got a 401k, and then you quit that job, and you got an IRA, you got an HSA, or you have a 403b. It's just the way things go. When you're starting out, you might just have one account. You might have 2 accounts because you're going to add a brokerage at some point. So it's just what it is. All right, so if you want those, they are available. Roughly $420,000 left in real estate notes. I made a video on that. You can take a look at that in the top right over here. And what happened with the update last month was I basically said that a real estate note was going to get paid back early, and guess what? It did. So I think I received $27,000 from a real estate note getting paid back, and that went into, well, guess what? You'll see in a minute. Please support my second channel, Hidden Off Grid. And so I do make other videos on this channel here. So, about a year's worth of videos out there. I made a couple about 4 years ago as well. And I'll be making a lot of update videos out here as well when I start hiking the Appalachian Trail, when I quit my job and start hiking the Appalachian Trail in roughly around June. And I'd appreciate it if you support me over there. So we're doing a lot more updates over there, just because of the video styles and all that. So, all right, that link will be down in the first pinned comment as well. Dividend portfolio, dividend increase. Let's take a look at that, because I think there was one dividend increase in there. So we'll go to current portfolio here, and we'll scroll over to the right. Let's see here, get to the dividend section. So here's the dividend section here, and we have a dividend increase on Colgate-Palmolive, so CL. We have a 4.44% dividend increase on Colgate-Palmolive, so we went from $1.80 up to $1.88, and let's see if that actually is in line. Actually, that blew away all their numbers. Actually, it's right almost to the 10-year CAGR. So, for the 1 year, the 3 year, and the 5 year, we went up quite heavily, so significantly. That's a better word. And is a dividend king, almost 60 years of consecutive dividend increases. So that's a pretty darn good increase. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go and clear that flag there, 1.88. All right, flag is cleared. Let's see if we have any more. We do not have any more dividend increases. So that closes out the dividend increases. Going back to the agenda here, we have the sells for the month of March. Let's take a look at that. So here are the sells for the month of March, and what you're seeing here is me just taking a little bit of profits in some select stocks here, mostly energy, so that's CVX there and ExxonMobil. When you got oil prices up in the $120 a barrel, energy was just a little bit over allocated in my portfolio, so why not take a little bit of profits in energy to bring that back down to earth? And that's exactly what I did there. Sold out of 9 shares of CVX and sold out of 9 shares of ExxonMobil there. A little bit of capital gains. Those were long-term capital gains. Also took a little bit of profits in Johnson & Johnson as well, kind of preparing for that spinoff that they're going to do, because I don't really know what I'm going to do with the stock after the spinoff. Took a little bit of profits there in Caterpillar, just 2 shares there, $423, just to bring that sector down as well. So I took profits in $3,750, so not a lot of sells there, nothing big, nothing major, just taking a little bit of profits, but moving some capital around into some other things. So let's go ahead and take a look at that next there. So here are the buys for the month of March. SCHD, 405 shares that I bought in March. $31,318, and that's what I was talking about earlier, that $27,000 in the note that got paid back early, it went into SCHD, and that pushed me to a record-breaking dividend month. Also bought some DIVO there, $1,150 in DIVO, and also bought $938 in JEPI, for a total buy-in for the month of March of $33,407. And that's pretty much what I did. So a lot of these other stocks down here were just me doing my normal contribution. These are not drips, but I am dripping. Everything's turned on right now. The drip is actually turned on in everything, with the exception of NUSI. This is just me executing my plan, which I've outlined in a previous video. So here we're looking at the allocation, where the single stocks, the single individual stocks, which are, let me scroll over to the left here because I actually didn't show that. So all these single individual stocks on the left-hand side right here are what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the ETFs down at the bottom right here. So if we go to allocation, that's not including the ETFs. This is just single stocks. I try to keep the allocations close to the S&P 500. So I'm not going to go through these. You can pause the video if you want to look at those there. But I did bring energy down to earth here. It's still sitting over allocated at 5.3%. But that's just because energy went on a run, and I didn't want to take more profits out of it. It continues to go up, $140 a barrel, something like that. I will maybe take a little bit more profits out of energy again. And this is what we've all been waiting for. This is all of the dividends I received for the month of March. So 15 total dividends there for the month of March. JEPI coming in here with $1,923. And I can tell you, spoiler alert, April was even higher than that. And I was very flabbergasted when I saw that. Not to mention excited, not to mention happy to see it as well. So we got SO there, we got Johnson & Johnson, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Microsoft, 3M, we got Realty Income, McDonald's, Duke, HD, NUSI there, SCHD coming in clutch at the last minute because of that $27,000, well, actually it was like $31,000 that I invested into SCHD, brought in $206, that's a quarterly pair. Pepsi and DIVO coming in there last minute at 1,027, bringing the total record income for the month of March of 3843. That's actually a record in this portfolio's history, and I can contribute most of that to SCHD because that is a quarterly pair, and I got that 30-something plus $1,000 into SCHD just prior to the ex-dividend date. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to update all of those dividends across the Google Sheets here for the month of March. So we'll just run a script to do that because it makes it a lot easier for me. So let's go to dividend charts here and we'll bring up the dividend-o-meter for 2022. And let's go ahead and start the script here. All right, the script finished. Let's close that down there. And we also saw the dividend 2022 dividend-o-meter go up. So we're at $10,000. And that's closed out the first quarter. So let's go and take a look at some metrics here. But before we do that, let's take a look at the dividends received just to make sure that everything looks right. So there you can see that the line here for March of 2022 has all the dividends across it now. Just make sure that the amount shows 3843. It does. And also, XYLD, QYLD, I've talked about in a previous video. I got out of those, so that's why they're red. All right, everything looks good there. So let's go back to the dividend charts and take a look at the metrics. So we closed out the month of March at 3843, and that eclipses last month and also January as well. And it looks like we've actually just destroyed every other month. I mean, even our biggest month is December of 2021 at 3742, and we beat that out. And I can basically say that was because of SCHD. Scrolling on down here, we got the dividends by quarter there. Look at that there, $10,469 for Q1 of 2022, doubling what we had in 2021 at $4,116. And I do think that Q2 will even be bigger than Q1 of 2022. So that'll be interesting to see if we can actually beat out Q1, which we should because I'm reinvesting all of the dividends. Scrolling down here to the dividends by year, and we're already at 10,000 for Q1 there. And so we have another 3 quarters to go. If we actually times that by 4, we should be roughly about $40,000, $41,000 by the end of 2022. So that will come very close to my goal, which the goal is, I just at the top here. So the goal is set to $50,000. I don't know if I'm going to get there. If a real estate note gets paid back earlier, and I can reinvest that back into the dividend portfolio, then maybe I can hit that $50,000 goal. So we're on our way to the $50,000 goal, and I can't believe already a quarter of the year is done. Looking here at the options income, and let's see here. So IB CSP, so I had minus $867. Let's take a look at that right quick here. So minus $867 for the month of March, but I did, claw my way back with the big decline that we had in February, and then took a small loss here in March, and most of that was just me clearing out the portfolio. So if we look here at my options account, I cleared out everything that was in there and started from scratch just to prepare myself because I'm hiking the Appalachian Trail. And I wanted to not have to think about that. So I cleared everything out and started from scratch there. So we'll claw our way back by the end of the year. And then going back to the portfolio, if I can get back there, we're already up $586 and we're only 7-8 days into April. So if I can continue to plug away here, we should take our $3,294 that we're down for the year so far and turn this into a positive year. And I expect that to happen, especially if the market kind of remains where it is or even goes up a little bit. So, all right, let's see here. We're going back to the agenda. Schwab account didn't make any income for the month of March. There is 2 covered calls on in that account right now, but they don't expire until later this month. So that'll be in next month's update. All right, we're in my Schwab account here, and I always show this just to, so it's, not fake numbers you're seeing in the Google Sheets. These numbers should jive with what's in Google Sheets pretty much right to a T. So here's the account here. Those all the individual positions there that I've been showing in the Google Sheets. Scrolling down here, we can see the income ETFs and regular standard ETFs as well. So there you go. That should jive with pretty much what you see in Google Sheets as well. Scrolling back up, we can go to the show investment income because what we want to see is projections for the month of April. So let's go to 2022 here. Here is April right here. We've already received $2,500 in April. And I can tell you, spoiler alert, right now, that was JEPI. JEPI brought in $2,474 or something like that. I cannot believe it. It was a ginormous payment from JEPI there. I was like, what the heck is this? If they can do that every month, that'd be awesome. I don't think they're going to, but I need to dig into that and find out what that extra payment really was in there. Was it just a really good month, or is that something they're going to start doing every month, right? But the projections for the month of April put me at another $1,500 on top of the $2,500. So that would put me over $4,000, which is interesting because that actually beats out my record month for the month of March at 38. So that'll be interesting to see. Let's go to the next 12 months here because that's kind of the projection for the monthly income at $3,281. That's been going up, and it's really been going up even though I haven't contributed to the portfolio every single day or anything like that. And that's just because the value of the portfolio has gone up, and I think they're just calculating. I don't really know what Schwab's doing, but when the portfolio goes up, this goes up, which is kind of interesting because I think that's possibly the income ETFs. As they recover, the yield goes up, but it really should be going down, so that's interesting. We'll see if this actually comes out to be an accurate projection because my dividend portfolio in Google Sheets showing about 3,300, so it's not too far off. I'm showing 32, they're showing 3,281, so we're getting a little bit closer, closing the gap there. So they're showing, some of the bigger months at 3,500, I think 3,500, but I'm also having drip turned on for almost everything, and that'll drip for the next 7, 8, 9 months, somewhere around there. And I'll be living off the cash position here while I'm hiking the Appalachian Trail. $40,000 of that needs to actually go pay taxes by next week, so I'll be taking $40K out of there to pay taxes. And then I'll be living off of the rest of the cash in there while the rest actually drips for the next gestation period. There'll be another huge update in May, so that'll be kind of interesting to see what happens with the portfolio and me quitting my job and all that. And maybe I'll share a little bit of stuff on healthcare and how I'm doing and mentally and all that. And I do share a lot of that stuff on the other channels, so go ahead and check that out as well. So that was the update. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, leave a comment down below. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.